Hey, what's up, Julie? Always love watching your videos. And, you made a note about your wrist position here. I just want to highlight how great you actually recovered from this set. So that second rep was really, really tough. And bar speed on these last few were excellent. I'm not sure what you were doing here. I think you were being a little bit more aggressive. You were probably squeezing the bar harder. And you were probably bracing a little bit harder too as well. So it just goes to show you, after, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to execute these repetitions as perfectly as you can, okay? And, especially after a rep like this, you could still recover because you got a whole set of 5 that you can work with to get it as good as possible. So keep in mind that every time you do these reps, it's another chance that you can try to execute as perfectly as possible. Honestly, I think your bench is coming along really, really well. We're hitting 57.5 for sets of 5, 3 sets of 5, another set of 5. We're doing a lot of reps here, and I want to build you up to a total of 30 reps before we start increasing the weight again. And it's a little slower method, but it's going to allow you plenty of practice plenty of opportunities to practice what you need to focus on. And the big things we need to focus on is wrist position, elbow position, and also being aggressive, okay? But just taking a look at that rep, this second rep here. Let's see, was this it? Oh, it was this next one. I think the reason why it kind of felt the way it did is we kind of lost our elbow position here. And you can notice how the bar kind of goes forward a little bit. It kind of like does this. But you're strong enough to overcome that and push it back into the path of least resistance. So you are getting stronger, and it's quite evident that you're getting stronger. So keep up the good work with that. And yeah, keep focusing on your checklist. And, it's not going to be much different as far as what we need to focus on. It's just we need to focus on it a bunch and every single time we come in there. So let's see. Notice that the up phase is different than the down phase, further away from me. Alright, so there's actually... Yeah, you had mentioned that your knee position, kind of a little bit of valgus collapse. First, I just want to kind of highlight some good parts here. One is the hip and the back angle, how you maintain that off the floor. Also, too, I like how you rock your weight back on your heels. That's something that I brought up the last time, okay? And the mechanics of the lift are pretty well, and I could see you setting it down and questioning whether it's in the right position or not. Let's see. I take a look at that, and then we take a look at this. I think that's pretty damn close. You should give yourself a high 5 on that one. Oh, and you get a little happy dance there too as well. It's funny because I don't know that you're going to do a dance or anything or give a thumbs up. So when I say in my head, oh, that looked good, you actually confirm it by doing a little happy dance, and that really makes me feel good about you knowing when you're on point with your reps. And as time goes on, you're going to get better and better at it. So, you had mentioned the valgus collapse, which, I don't think is that, let's see, we'll do an up phase here. when I look at the deadlift as a whole, driving the knees out isn't as important as driving the knees out in the squat. But there's a couple things that we can do here. One is just narrowing your stance just a little bit and pointing your heels in so we could rotate the feet out. So that's one thing we could do, okay? If we do it, we're going to approach it like we did with the squat. Remember how we set your feet and then we moved it in like an inch and we tested it out. So on your next deadlift, I want you to move your feet in like an inch. You could even have roll and draw some lines on the floor too as well, and then use that as our starting position. And then that way we can measure how much of a change we're actually going to do. And then what we could do is pull the heels in, because what that's going to do is that's going to keep the stance narrow. If we just turn the toes out, that's going to widen the stance a little bit. So we'll narrow the stance a smidge, and then we'll point the heels in. And the next thing we could focus on is actually keeping contact with the arms when we go ahead and set up for the deadlift. So when we drive the knees out, we can make sure that the arms stay in contact with the knees. And on the warm-up sets, and on your top sets, like, don't worry about this stuff on your top sets, because we're going to practice it on your warm-up sets. Practice it on your warm-up sets and your lighter sets. And make sure that you continue to have contact with the knee on the inside of the arm. But also keep in mind, do everything else that we've been focusing on. That's setting the hip height correctly, that's shifting the weight back onto the heels before we start, and that's focusing on the eccentric phase by bending the hip more before it passes the knee, and then don't bend the knee until the bar fully passes the knee. So, but you're making progress. 102 and a half by 5. I think that is personal best. Let me see. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and update that right now. So 102.5, and that was on the 29th. Cool. And then I really love this rep here. This rep was fantastic. I have to show it because I think you hit it right on the head there. Up and down phase, they were great. And you clap to confirm my guess on that. So, but alright, Julie, that's all I got for you today. Keep kicking butt, and looking forward to seeing your workouts for later in the week.